The emergence of COVID-19 pandemic has affected all walks of life since it struck in 2019, and persons living with disabilities are no exception, especially visually impaired students who were asked to stay at home in a bid to curb the spread of the virus. We visited the School of the Visually Impaired under the supervision of the Gambia Organization of Visually Impaired (GOVI) to assess the impact of the pandemic on students and their pursuit of education. In an exclusive interview with this medium, Mrs. Natoma Kamara, head teacher at GOVI, explains how COVID-19 affected her students, even though e-learning was introduced by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education.
Unfortunately for our own site here, being a special needs school, and there was an oversight in our own area. That is, the government was able to provide education through some of the media houses, especially the television and the radio. But then, due to one reason or the other, School for the Blind was not catered for. It was not catered for because when you look at it, none of our teachers were involved in the whole process. And none of our students would have benefit because those people, their way of learning and the way they were teaching was quite different. Although they were using the media houses that our children can hear, but then they cannot see, and you cannot teach blind people maybe through the media houses. It will be very difficult. So it was like blind students throughout that break. Most of them were just sitting at home doing nothing, which the government was campaigning against.
Mr. Sambajete, a teacher at the school, narrates how he helps students through providing online classes during the lockdown.
It's a big challenge because if you look at it, there were times when this e-learning was going on, where learning was taking place through the TV and then through the radio. But we see to it that a visually impaired, how can the person learn through the TV? It was so challenging. Other students were benefiting, but we were not. So this is why I came up with the initiative. I created a group called Online English Classes. Initially, it was just one class, but later on, I made sure I communicated with my friends, and then I started creating different classes where students will come online, meet with their teachers, and then we teach them on how to catch up with like the others. But it was challenging because even those things were done by myself, sometimes even by credit for the teachers. And then it was made to the notice of the ministry, but nothing was made.
Mr. Lamin Kuli, Executive Director of COVID, laments the impact of COVID-19 on people living with disabilities in the Gambia.
COVID-19 has negatively affected the livelihood of persons with disabilities in general. Persons with disability who depend on family members or other people were affected very seriously. If you look at it, persons with disabilities, they depend on their families, and those family members are also affected by COVID-19. During this period, family members they have a decrease in their earnings. Many of them who were embarking on business have their businesses shut down in that period, so they are unable to support the disabled people.
The impact of COVID-19 on students is enormous, with an increase in the worries and physical health of students resulting in a rapid shift to online learning and increased isolation. For the news, I am Alimadu Espajinka.